Okay, so this is my first video for you year ones for 2025-2026. And in this, my name is Mr. Clarify, okay? Or you can call me Clarify. In this video, what I want to do is I want to take you through your year one, all right? And specifically what every module is like. Not really the content, but what you do in each module and the dangerous things and the things to watch out for and how you can always make sure you are ready for everything, okay? Now, because what happens is, so let me just write. So this is Biust, going to write Botswana International University of Science and Technology. And here we are having our year one for 2025-2026. Are you ready? Now, what is the difference between high school and university? Okay, so in high school, let's say your teacher comes and teaches you trig. So they come and say, okay, so there's going to be Pythagoras theorem and there's going to be SOHCAHTOA. You should know that when you get a right angle triangle, you are either going to use Pythagoras or SOHCAHTOA. Let's say that now you're not even listening, right? Then at the end of the lesson, you get assignment, you go home, you do the assignment, and you bring back something which is really, really bad. Key zero. Again, thought that you wrote nothing. And then you submit, then the teacher marks and you get a 0. Now, maybe it happened to some of you. Did that thing go on your final certificate? No, because you are here in Biust, right? Good. And we don't even know that. So you know the days you submitted bad assignments or you failed in a test. We don't know that. It's not there. But now it's different because if you fail an assignment, it's going to be there on your final mark. If you fail a test, it's going to be there on your final mark. If you do a lab badly, it's going to affect your final mark. So every single thing is contributing to the mark you are going to get at the end of the day. Don't think that there are two separate marks. There is no such thing. The thing you are doing right now is going to make up what they call CA, and CA means continuous assessment. So what will happen at the end of semester is you are going to then get 1 week of reading week. Okay, so lectures finish, then you get 1 week, then exams start. Okay, in that 1 week you are going to get your results for the semester, which we call CA, right? This will contribute to 50% of your final mark. Okay, then the other 50% is going to come from the exam. So everything you are doing is going to be going to the CA, which is 50%. That means it will appear on your final mark because these two are going to make your final mark. CA plus exam gives you final mark. Okay? What is CA? The mark you are going to get from everything you're going to do in the semester. Okay? The tests, the labs, the tutorials. So now we want to talk about those things. Looking at module one by one. We want to talk about, okay, so what comes in this module, what comes in this module, what comes in this one, right? Let's start with the modules that are common for both sciences students and engineering students. So I'm going to start with Math 101. Right? Math 101 is the same for sciences students and engineering students, although you're going to be doing lectures on different days, but the test day is the same. So you're going to write your test on the same day and you're going to write the same stuff. Now, in Math 101, what comes? So you're going to go for your lecture. So let me put these words that you're going to need to know. There is a word lecture, which everyone should attend. Then there is another word called tutorial session. Okay, I'm going to say tutorial session. And then there is another word, we have lab session. So these are things you attend, right? And then there are words like tutorial. And then there's another word, lab. And then there is another word. Okay, let's start by saying sorry. Lecture slide, okay? We have something called a lecture slide. Then we have something called a tutorial. Then we have something called a lab manual, okay? Or there's a lab guide and a lab manual, okay? And there's where you're going to be writing your lab. So I'm going to just call all of them lab, okay? The lab stuff. And then you are going to have your test, okay? And then obviously you are going to have your exam. Okay, and then there's another word I'm leaving, which is going to be module guide. Okay, I want you to know this one, module guide. Right, so let's start with the words on top. These are the things you attend. So you have a lecture where you're going to go and then you obviously get taught by a lecturer, right? Gives you whatever. And at the end of that, whether it's the same day or the next day or after 2 days or whatever, he's going to upload, sometimes he does before, mostly, lecture slides, okay? Lecture slides will be what he or she was using in the lecture, okay? And this is what you have to refer to when you are studying and preparing for tests. So when you want to know what information should I know, you have to be good at things that are in the lecture slide. That is provided by the lecturer and it's the same thing that was used in the lecture. Okay, so lecture slide is your source of information, right? Now, when you're not understanding it, you have to refer to videos and these other people that help, right? What are they just trying? What should they help you do? Understand everything in the lecture slide so that you do what? So that you can do something called a tutorial. So tutorial are what we call a tutorial is a set of questions, a PDF mostly, or a Word document, which is sent to you on Blackboard. It is uploaded on Blackboard with the lecture slides. So lecture slides are uploaded on Blackboard. You don't have to look for them. They're going to be uploaded on Blackboard. The tutorials are going to be uploaded on Blackboard. And these are sets of questions that you are going to do, okay? Now you're going to do them. And for some modules which you are going to see, you are going to use them to prepare for a quiz which you will get in a tutorial session. A tutorial session is where you go after having done a tutorial, okay? And you'll be with a TA, and TAs are called teaching assistants, people that help lecturers. And what they do is they will be going through the questions with you again, okay? Practicing the things that were in the tutorial. And for some modules, you will be given a quiz there, which is going to be on your final mark. It's going to be part of the CA. Okay, remember CA is so important because it helps you qualify for the exam. If you get a mark below the minimum mark, that means you don't even qualify for the exam. That means you've already failed the module. You understand? So you have to have a good CA and you have to pass your exam to have a good overall grade. Now the lab. Okay, so we have a lab session. In a lab session, you're going to perform an experiment. So for bio, for chem, for physics, you're going to go for a lab session and you're going to perform an experiment and then record results in your lab. But before that, there'll be something which you call a pre-lab. And pre-lab is things you're going to write on a sheet that you're going to be provided with. And these are things you do. Don't worry, TAs, you explain to you further on this. Things you do before you go for a lab session. So you're going to write some things on your sheet. And then when you go for a lab session, you should have done that. Should be ready. Then you're going to perform your experiment and then whatever goes on in that thing. Then now you have tests and exams. Now, what about this thing called the module guide? Remember, exam, you only write it after your reading week. So it's far, far, far from now. Don't think about it right now, okay? Module guide is going to be where you are going to be seeing all the topics you are doing for that particular module. It's the syllabus, okay? So what you called syllabus in high school now is going to be called the module guide. So this is what we have and you are done. So you see these words? They're not hard, are they? I don't think they are. Now let's talk about each subject and the dangers, right? Let's see what you are going to be required to do in each module. So what modules are you doing? You start with Math 101. Math 101, yes. What are the things that come? So yes, you're going to have many, many weeks of lecture slides, right? Now, what will happen is that on your timetable, you are going to see them saying a math tutorial. So if you look in your module guide, you're going to see that after every 2 weeks or in the second week, you skip 1 week, then you go to the second week, and you skip 1 week and you go to the second week. Every second week, you are going to be writing a quiz. And this quiz is going to be graded. So the things that are graded in maths is 1, a quiz, and then 2, the tests. These are the 2 things that are going to come on your CA. So you want to have a good CA? Yes. Make sure you are ready for the quiz. And make sure you are ready for the tests. Okay, do not underestimate a quiz. You have to be ready. How do you prepare yourself for a quiz? By doing the tutorials. Remember, a tutorial is a PDF you are going to be given, which will have a set of questions, a lot of questions, okay? Where you are going to practice and practice and practice. Most of the time, you're not provided solutions, so you have to read and understand lecture slides so that you can write true solutions and when you're practicing, okay, so that you can have good solutions and you can prepare well. So you need to go through your tutorials early. You need to be reading every week. Don't say, oh, I'm only preparing for the test. No. You'll be in trouble, my friend. You'll be very much in trouble. So, and in maths, you're going to have 2 tests, okay? Test 1 and test 2. So what will happen? And then you have the exam. So then, okay, remember that you are going to then add the exam so that you're going to get your final mark. Now, these 2 tests are going to be part of your CA. So if you want to qualify for the exam, pass your quizzes and be ready for the test. So always be checking with your module guide to see the week where your quiz is. And always be ready. So after every lecture, when any tutorial is uploaded, you should be checking your Blackboard. When any tutorial is uploaded, start practicing that thing. Those questions are so important because they are preparing you for the quiz. There's no waiting. Don't wait. You have to pass the quiz. Now, what comes then? After that, let's go to the next. Let's go to, say, Chem. No, let's start with physics. I like to start with maths and physics because I feel they're the most dangerous. Okay, so exam will then give you your other 50%. Remember, the 50% will be from your CA, which will come from quizzes and tests. So what comes in maths? Quizzes and tests. When do you write the quiz? In tutorial session. So quizzes are done in tutorial sessions. Once every 2 weeks. Okay? Once every 2 weeks. Always be ready. You actually have a week in between to be polishing yourself up. So there's no excuse for that one, sir. You have absolutely no excuse. Now, Physics 101. What do they have in this one? So in physics, they have the labs. Remember, in the labs, a lab is graded. A lab is graded. And it's a very powerful thing. You want to have a good CA? You got to pass your labs. And the physics labs are dependent on you being good at calculating errors. Okay? You'll be finding errors and uncertainties. You'll be finding uncertainties in your measurements, in your calculations. It's all about uncertainty. Okay? You are going to have to record your measurements correctly, and you're going to have to be able to calculate uncertainties correctly. So you have to be good at finding uncertainties. So let's say uncertainties, the different types of uncertainties when you are calculating and doing whatever. There's going to be, you see, some type A, type B. We'll talk about that. Now, these things you are going to learn in a special document which you are going to be given. Okay, it's going to be like a lab guide type thing. Okay, we have to go through that thing, and it teaches you how to find uncertainties, and you have to start reading it from week 1. If they upload it in week 1, you have to start reading it, because in week 2 you expect to get a lab, your first lab. And once they start coming, they're going to be coming thick and fast, because there's physics, there's chem, there's whatever, and all these modules are coming non-stop. So physics, you have labs, and they are graded. All the things I'm showing you are graded. Okay, sir, I have labs. What else do I have? I have labs. Then what else do you have? You are going to have online quizzes. Okay, you are going to have online quizzes. Now, these ones, you have to be ready. These ones are based on the textbook. Okay, we'll see if things change, but for the last few years, many years, there were online quizzes, and they are from this thing called Pearson. So they're called Pearson quizzes, and they are from the textbook called Principles and Practice of Physics. So this one has to be read, and it's quite big, so you need to give yourself time if you're reading it. So this textbook, you go through it, and you are going to be preparing for the online quizzes. They are going to be graded. You have to be ready for them, okay? And then once in a while, you are going to be having these, we say, okay, not once in a while, I'm saying it wrongly, but at the end of every lab, you are going to have what they call a tutorial test. So a lab is going to be done in the first hour, And then the last hour, you're going to go through what we call a tutorial test. Remember, physics labs are going to be like maths quizzes. They are done once in 2 weeks, okay? So they are done also, physics labs are done once in 2 weeks. So once in 2 weeks. So you have a week break in between. Maths quizzes again, you have once in 2 weeks. You have a week break in between. So these tutorial tests are done once in 2 weeks, and they are based on the tutorials that are going to be sent to you. The tutorials from Blackboard, okay? So the online quizzes are not from the tutorials on Blackboard. No. Online quizzes are from the textbook. But then the tutorial tests which you're going to do in the labs are going to be from the tutorial questions that will be on Blackboard. So maths quizzes are going to be from tutorials again. That will be on maths. These are going to be from tutorials that are going to be on Blackboard, right? They're going to be uploaded on Blackboard. Then again, tutorial tests in physics are from tutorials that are going to be on Blackboard. So Blackboard you're going to use to prepare it for this, and then you are going to have 2 tests, real tests, and these are also from the questions in tests are also from tutorials. So you have to do tutorials and past test papers, past test 1s and past test 2s. You use them to prepare. So these are going to be from tutorials, and you can use also past test papers, okay, to prepare. And also for maths, you should use tutorials. The 2 tests are going to be from the tutorial questions and also from past tests. That's how you prepare for the test, okay, from past tests. Now let's talk about Chem. Chem is the last common module, which is Chem 101, okay? We'll talk about the things that come in it, but the last thing, what do you have in Chem? So Chem is nice. For Chem is going to be labs, and labs are going to give you 25% plus what? Plus the tests, okay, 2 tests. The only module where you're going to do 3 tests this semester is Math 101. So plus 2 tests, which will also give you 25%, and these 2 will be 50%, and this will be your CA. So our Chem CA is going to be from this, okay? The labs, very, very important in Chem. Then the 2 tests, right? And the 2 tests, you are going to prepare them using, again, tutorials, okay? You have to go through tutorial question early. You need to give yourself time. You need time to practice this. Tutorials and past tests, okay? So you have to have gone through all the questions in tutorials, which is not easy. You need to start early so to be able to finish. Then, of course, you're going to have the exam at the end, and this is going to be the other 50%, and they would see. So if you get 10 out of 50, or you get 12 out of 50 for your CA, it's not looking good for you, right? You've lost a whole lot of marks. If you get 20 out of 50, is it good? No. If you get 28 out of 50, no, it's low. If you get 30, it's low, my friend. It's low. Because let's say you get 30 and then you get 50 out of 50 in the exam. That means you have 80% as your final mark, right? Which you can do much better than that as well, okay? So your labs, you have to make sure your labs are perfect. If you have any questions, you should refer to somebody and ask to make sure you're perfect, okay? And be good friends to your TAs so you can ask them questions to make sure your labs are perfect, okay? Ask them how the labs should be so that you are not punished or penalized for things you are not supposed to be punished for. These are the common modules. I started with the one for the common, these common modules that are going to be there for both engineers and scientists. So put this down, and then let's talk more about these things in the next video. Goodbye for now.